Hey everyone, so today we're going to continue our monocolor Steam series, and for this video we're going to talk about Rabbids. So Rabbids is a 4-member team. That's going to mean the team is not going to have as much synergy as a 3 or 2 member unit team, but there's going to still be some possibilities for Rabbids. And then Rabbids is an interesting case because they didn't really have that many cards in the beginning of the game, but then later on they got a whole bunch all of a sudden. So I'm really excited to talk about the synergy between the Rabbids members for each color. But as usual for the video, the color order will be red, blue, yellow, then green. But with that, let's just go ahead and start. Okay, for the Rabbids red team, for Tomoya's red cards, there are 2 we're going to talk about. The first one's going to be his first event Gacha Scout, which is Reloaded. And that scout has already happened and those cards are already in the standard pool. And the main stat of this card is Performance. And then Tomoya's second card is going to be his Shuffle Gacha card, which is for Flambe. And that scout hasn't happened yet and will happen during these dates. And the main stat of this card is Vocal. And then for Nazuna's red cards, he also has 2 we're going to talk about. The first one's going to be his Feature Scout. And his Feature Scout has already happened and this card is already in the standard pool. And the main stat of this card is Performance. And then Nazuna's second red card is going to be his second event scout, which was the Pretty Scout. And that scout hasn't happened yet in our server and will happen during these dates. And the main stat of this card is Dance. And then Mitsu's red card is going to be his tour event card for the school trip. And that tour event hasn't happened yet in our server and will happen during these dates. And the main stat of this card is Vocal. And then lastly for Hajime's red cards, we're going to talk about 2 for him as well. The first one's going to be his Sweet Event Gacha Scout. And that scout has already happened and this card is in the standard pool. And the main stat of this card is Vocal. And then Hajime's second red card is going to be for his solo event, the Sugar Wave event. And that event hasn't happened yet in our server and will happen during these dates. And the main stat of this card is Performance. Okay, and then an overview of the red team. The red team has interesting synergy because there's 3 out of 4 for 2 main stats. The first one being a red Vocal main stat team with Flambe Tomoya, School Trip Mitsudo, and Sweets Hajime. And the second team is going to be a red performance team with Reloaded Tomoya, Feature Scout Nazuna, and Sugar Wave Hajime. The unfortunate thing about both of the main stat teams is that only one of the 3 are going to be from an event, so the other ones are pretty much just gacha, so it's going to be a little hard to get. Okay, but that is it for the red team. Let's just talk about the blue team. Okay, for the Rabbids blue team, for Tomoya's blue cards, we're going to talk about 2. The first one is going to be Tomoya's initial card, which has been in the game since the beginning and is already in the standard pool. And the main stat of this card is Dance. And then Tomoya's second blue card is going to be for a Sports Festival Tour event. And that tour event hasn't happened yet in our server and will happen during these dates. And the main stat of this card is Performance. And then for Nazuna's blue card is going to be his Feature Scout 2 card, and the scout hasn't happened yet in our server and will happen during these dates. And the main stat of this card is Performance. And then for Mitsu's blue cards, we're going to talk about 2. The first one is going to be his Event Gacha Scout, and that's going to be the Soleil Scout. And that scout hasn't happened yet in our server and will happen during these dates. And the main stat of this card is Performance. And then Mitsu's second card is happening in JP right now, and that's going to be the Sports Survivor Event Gacha Scout. And this scout isn't going to be in our server for a while and will happen around these dates for us. And the main stat of this card is Vocal. And then lastly, for Hajime's blue card, it's going to be his Feature Scout card, and that scout hasn't happened yet in our server and will happen during these dates. And the main stat of this card is Performance. So for an overview of the Rabbids blue team, it's actually really nice because they actually have a 4 out of 4, which is going to be a blue performance team with Sports Festival Tomoya, Feature Scout 2 Nazuna, Soleil Mitsudo, and Feature Scout Hajime. The bad thing about this is that 3 out of the 4 are gacha, and the only one that's not is going to be Tomoya's. So even though they do have a 4 out of 4, it's going to be a little rough getting them. Okay, but that's it for the blue team. Next, let's talk about the yellow team. Okay, for Rabbids yellow team, Tomoya's yellow card is going to be his Feature Scout card. And that scout has already happened and those cards are in the standard pool. And the main stat of this card is Vocal. And then for Nazuna's yellow card is going to be his solo event, which was Poppin' Party. And that event has already happened and those cards are in the Memorial Coin Shop. And the main stat of this card is Dance. And then for Mitsu's yellow cards, he has 2 we're going to talk about. The first one's going to be for his solo event, Black Bunny in Underland. And that event has already happened in our server and will be added to the Memorial Coin Shop in the future. And the main stat of this card is Dance. And then Mitsu's second yellow card is going to be his Feature Scout 2 card. And that scout hasn't happened yet in our server and will happen during these dates. And the main stat of this card is Performance. And then lastly for Hajime does also have 2 cards. The first one is going to be exclusive to servers outside of JP, and that's going to be the top up Hajime, as I like to call it. And the only way you can get him is by spending at least $1 on your account. And the main stat of this card is Performance. And then Hajime's second card is going to be his Feature Scout 2 card. And that scout hasn't happened yet in our server and will happen during these dates. And the main stat of this card is Dance. So for an overview of the yellow team, there is a 3 out of 4 for the yellow team, which is going to be a yellow dance team. And that consists of Poppin' Party Nazuna, Underland Mitsudu, and Feature Scout 2 Hajime. There is also a 2 out of 4 as well, which is going to be Feature Scout 2 Mitsudu and Pop-Up Bonus Hajime. And unfortunately, Tomoya is the odd one out in this comp. Okay, but that's it for yellow team. Lastly, let's talk about the green team. So for Rabbit's green team, for Tomoya, we have 2 cards to talk about. The first one is going to be for SSR 6 Stage Sanctuary, and that tour event hasn't happened yet in our server and will happen during these dates. And the main stat of this card is Dance. And Tomoya's second green card is going to be for his solo event, which is Parallel World, and that event hasn't happened yet in our server and will happen during these dates. And the main stat of this card is Performance. And then for Nazuna's green cards, he also has 2 we're going to talk about. The first one's going to be his first event Gacha Scout, which was Gem Sphere. And that scout has already happened in our server and will be added to the standard pool in the future. And the main stat of this card is Vocal. And then for Nazuna's second card is going to be for his tour event, which was the Summer Tour event. And that tour event hasn't happened yet in our server because it just happened in JP and will happen around these dates for us. And the main stat of this card is Performance. And then for Mitsu's green card is going to be his Feature Scout card, and this scout has already happened, and the card is already in the standard pool. And the main stat of this card is Vocal. And then lastly for Hajime's green card, his green card is for his tour event, which was Boogie Time, and that tour event has already happened, and the cards will be added to Momo Coin Shop in the future. And the main stat of this card is Dance. Okay, and then an overview of the green team. The green team is weird because it has a 2 out of 4 for every main stat, but nothing better than that. But one I would like to highlight is a green dance team because both of them are from tour events. Tomoya's being from SSR 6 Stage, and then Hajime's being from Boogie Time. So those you can get pretty much for free if you have the Hajime already, because that was a good while before this video. Okay, but that is it for the Rabbids Synergy monocolor team. Rabbids has a lot of really good comp. Their best comp being their blue team, having a blue main performance team, Sports Festival Tomoya, FS2 Nazuna, Soleil Mitsudu, and Feature Scout Hajime. And then the red team having 2 actually really good synergy teams. First with a red vocal main stat team with Flambe Tomoya, School Trip Mitsudu, and Sweets Hajime. And then also having a red performance team with Reload Tomoya, Feature Scout Nazuna, and Sugar Wave Hajime. And then for yellow team, also having a 3 out of 4 with a yellow main stat dance team with Poppin' Party Nazuna, Underland Mitsudu, and Feature Scout 2 Hajime. And then lastly for the green team, which has the weakest synergy out of all of them so far, 2 out of 4 for every main stat. The green dance team being SSR 6 Stage Tomoya and Boogie Time Hajime. The vocal team being Gem Sphere Nazuna and FS Mitsudu. And then lastly for the green performance team, Parallel World Tomoya and Summer Tour event Nazuna. Okay, but that is it for the video. Next video after this will be on Akatsuki, and that shall be the end of the Rhythm Link portion of this series. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you liked the video, feel free to press that like button. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to put it down below. And if you like the content or if you want to see more content, feel free to subscribe to the channel because everything helps. Hope you enjoyed the video and thanks for watching. Hope you have a good day or night wherever you are, and I'll see you all next time. So, peace.